North Korea has warned the U.S. to end its military hysteria or face retaliation. Tensions are growing in the region with speculation the secretive state is preparing to carry out a nuclear test. The U.S. is sending an aircraft carrier to the Asia-Pacific. For more on this, Eunice Kim is live for us in Seoul. Eunice, would you say that this is a regular annual parade, or is there more to it this year in the wake of ongoing tensions?
Well, certainly this was no regular military parade. It was an opportunity for North Korea to showcase its military might before foreign correspondents present, as well as the world watching closely the reclusive state. Now, a series of missiles and rockets were paraded on the 150th anniversary of the country's founder, Kim Il-sung's birthday. Weapons analysts here in South Korea believe among them we saw new types of ICBMs, as well as SLMBs. These are submarine-launched ballistic missiles called the 북극성 1 and 2. Of course, it remains to be seen whether these are weapons that actually have been tested or whether they are simply conceptual as of now. But the entire thing broadcast on live TV, state TV, and from time to time we saw the country's leader, Kim Jong-un, smile cheek to cheek as the number 2, Choi Ryong-hae, sent this message of warning, presumably to the United States, that North Korea was ready to meet full-out war with full-out war or nuclear attacks with its own kind of nuclear attack.
And what's been the reaction to this show of force where you are in Seoul?
Well, you know, although we are just a little bit of a distance from Pyongyang, people in South Korea currently are actually out and about enjoying the spring weather. Although the newscasts here and certainly the newspapers have been covering the day's events in Pyongyang, the country, South Korea, that is, in fact, is more glued on the political events here, as it has a presidential election coming up in a couple weeks' time on the 9th of May.
Eunice Kim, live for us in Seoul. Thank you for that update. And Rolf Costa is the president of the Pacific Forum, a group which analyzes political landscapes in the Asia-Pacific region. He joins us now live from Hawaii. Now, Rolf, North Korea has been ignoring pressure from the U.S. to abandon its nuclear weapons program, but tensions have never been this high. How close do you think we are to actual war?
Oh, I don't think we're very close to war at all. Neither side is crazy or suicidal. There's a bit of saber rattling on both sides, but each is saying we will respond if the other one attacks. And no one is actually getting prepared to attack. We've got the Vice President of the United States in Seoul right now. That's not what you would do if you were getting ready to start a war.
And we understand that China said that the tension between the two countries has to be stopped before reaching an irreversible and unmanageable stage. What is China's next move likely to be?
Well, the Chinese are trying to play both sides, of course. They want to keep the United States happy. They don't want to get more economic difficulties with us. At the same time, they would like to pressure the North Koreans, but not to the extent of North Korea collapsing. So they're trying to play both sides. I think the Chinese are getting a little fed up with the North Koreans now. So they're probably a little more inclined to increase the pressure, but still probably not enough to get them to change their policies.
Well, adding to the Chinese unease, U.S. President Donald Trump said that the problem of North Korea will be taken care of. If China decides to help, that would be great. If not, the U.S. will solve the problem without them. What exactly does that mean? How will the U.S. solve the problem, and can it really solve the problem alone?
Well, I don't think we can solve the problem or solve it alone. At the end of the day, the only one that can solve the problem is the North Koreans, and you have to convince them that what they're doing is actually decreasing their security rather than increasing it. That requires turning up the pressure. It requires the Chinese cooperating and turning up the pressure. And we'll have to see whether that actually comes through or not. At some point, we're going to have another missile test and another nuclear test, not this weekend and probably around the 25th, which is the anniversary of the Army And then we'll see how the Chinese respond at the Security Council, whether they will get tough or whether they will do like they normally do, trying to water down the sanctions instead of getting tougher on the North Koreans.
We've seen this before. North Korea has been saying that it is ready to respond to any kind of hostility. The United States now entering the game of some sort. Is this more of the same, or do you see a difference in the narrative from where you are?
Well, I think the narrative has changed a little bit, particularly on the U.S. side. You know, the Obama administration talked about strategic patience. This administration is more talking about strategic impatience. I think the rhetoric on the North Korean side has been the same, but there's more of a concern that the current administration in Washington might be willing to ratchet up the pressure a little bit more and put more pressure on China to put pressure on North Korea. So in that case, things have changed. But overall, at the end of the day, you still have to persuade the North Koreans to give up their weapons, and you need to persuade the Chinese to make it uncomfortable enough for the North Koreans that they have no other option.
Ralph Costa, live for us in Hawaii. Thank you very much for that.